The following program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.
Welcome to Chatting with Jocelyn. I'm your host, Jocelyn, and today we have a second half to the show, and my guest is Janelle, and she is with, let me get this right, Damsel in Defense.
Yes, and I'm a DamselPro.
And you're a DamselPro.
Right.
I think I get this right, but it's okay. Keeping it real
it's
here.
Okay.
So we're going to be talking about products, proactive products, proactive books, proactive methods for parents to work with their children. And we're going to start with college age, 18-year-olds, and work our way down. Mm-hmm. Tell us a little how you got involved with Damsel in Defense.
So my big why, it actually happened when my husband was deployed. Mm-hmm. And I took my kids out for our celebratory dinner for New Year's. And like we always did, I wanted to keep things, regular for them. Mm-hmm. And so we were out at a nicer restaurant, and this man came over to our table that was a server there, but not our server, and wanted to compliment my children on how good they were being after I just said, stop acting up, or I'm going to take you, to a fast food restaurant next time. So they engaged with this man and were having a conversation, and my daughter took a sample from another company that I was working for out of my purse and gave it to him. And this, of course, opened a new door, and he basically sat down with us throughout our entire meal. From the time I basically came into the restaurant until I left. He was pulled away from the table a couple of times by his manager, and just, kept coming back. He was very interested in myself and my kids, and offering things like, free family photos, and, do your kids like art? They can come to my house and paint, and, a lot of things.
Some red flags go up for you?
Yeah, I left the restaurant feeling very yucky inside and wondering, what just happened to me. And after I went home and I put the kids to bed that night, I Googled, grooming behaviors. And then, because I thought to myself, like, was I just being groomed? Was this person trying to get close to me to get close to my kids? Mm-hmm. And so that is how this was all born. I was Googling, how do I keep myself and my kids safe while I'm in direct sales? I want my kids to be part of what I do, and I want to teach them to be people persons without being afraid of others, but knowing what kind of a situation you're in. And so that's when I came across our product line for children, the Safe Hearts line. Oh. And so that is how Damsel in my life came to be.
Yeah, that's scary that, a lot of people don't realize that as an adult, you can be groomed.
Right.
And sometimes you're being groomed for you, or you're being groomed for your children.
Right.
Now, when you use the word groomed, a lot of people know this word, but it's also a new terminology that has come up in the past couple of years.
Yeah.
What is grooming?
It basically is just, a predator's way of working themselves into your life in a more comfortable setting so that you trust them, and so that you kind of let your guard down, and they are literally conditioning you to their behavior and being comfortable with them and how they are. And that, so for adults, me being in a place where I'm vulnerable, my husband is away on deployment, and I, I'm alone with my kids. Maybe
Right.
maybe he thought I needed a friend, or I needed somebody to help babysit. I mean, that's a lot of what he was offering was, free piano lessons, and he's so smart. And, a lot of just, oh, you guys have a puppy? I have a puppy. Let's go to the park together. Just all kinds of things to make me feel like, yeah, we should get coffee. Oh, we must be friends then, right? If he wants to go to coffee with me, he must just think that I'm this nice person. And of course I am, and I'm personable, and I'm very likable, and this guy is very likable, and
But ultimately, you don't know
right
what was the
goal
motive. Is, what was
right.
the motive.
Exactly. So
wow, this is wonderful. I was just reading this card. It says, may you leave equipped, may you leave empowered, and may you leave educated. But most importantly, may you leave safe. So that is, a wonderful, I don't know what you want to call it, saying or
well, that is our mission.
Statement, the mission statement, yeah.
Right, that's our mission, to equip, empower, and
how
educate.
How perfect, and what a story to be able to tell. And we've all gone through that, and we really need to stop telling ourselves you're being ridiculous. That's just a nice thing to do. That's not the world today.
That's how I left the restaurant, saying, don't just assume that, this was a negative thing, or that this man had any ill intent. But the more that I looked into it after I got home, I was like, oh my gosh, wow. I'm not just,
you're not imagining it.
Right.
So let's start with something for college kids, younger adults. Where would you start?
Well, I would definitely start with having some kind of a whistle.
Okay.
Or an alarm. And we have lots of those, and we talked about them in the last
earlier show. So great for 18 college kids.
Perfect thing to have, where they, they can wear it with all of their outfits.
Whistle. Yep.
Right? And that's
the
our
college,
leave.
If they have restrictions, this would not be restricted.
Right. So that's our Leave Me Alone. This one is our Pearl of Wisdom. We also have our hearapindrop, which is the this, you can keep it on your purse.
The alarm. Yep.
You can keep it on your keychain, and you just pull it down, and it sounds
so no
an alarm.
buttons, you just pull it. So
you pull it.
So you pull the pin out to activate it. No, we don't, because it's really loud.
Okay.
Is it really loud?
It's really loud.
Yeah,
it's 110 decibels.
Okay, we don't want to do that right now.
And so it also has a light on it. So if you're fumbling with your keys, to help you get into your dorm room at night.
Okay.
And so
and that's called
the hearapindrop.
Hearapindrop. I like that.
We also have for not just college age kids, but for younger girls and boys, we have the holler his and the holler hers.
Okay.
So you have a blue and you have a pink. If it's one of those things where they don't want to carry something that's black and pink, we have one that's got blue. It's the same thing. It's it's an alarm that you can just keep on your keychain, or you can keep it. You can clip this right to the kid's belt loop, so that if they're going to the bathroom, the backpack, they have that on them.
And that's again a pull.
This one is not. No. This one actually you just slide it. There's a little slide on the side.
Okay.
And it also has a light on it, so that you can, illuminate your keys or whatever if you're trying to get into something. So those are our alarms, and so there's no restriction on those in school.
Okay.
Which is nice. So for college age kids and for younger children, we also have this is our To Whom It May Concern. This comes in 3 different colors. It comes in pink, silver, and blue. Comes with it's an actual pen. It's an executive pen.
Okay.
It has a refill that comes with it. And, you just turn it like this to make the pen come in and out.
Right. Yep.
But the end of this has what we like to call a DNA extractor.
Oh.
It's a serrated end. And it actually, can gouge and scratch, so that, they tell you that if you're ever in a hand-to-hand, always fight back, because evidence will be left on you.
Because it goes under your fingernails,
etc. If you can't speak for yourself, then the evidence will be under your nails and so forth. But, you know, what if you don't have nails, or if you know, this can be used in all different kinds of ways. It can be, it's metal, so it can be used as a force multiplier. It can be used as a DNA extractor, and it also has just a regular flashlight, and then it has a strobe light on the end of it. So, and a strobe can be used to distract.
Yes.
In that kind of a situation.
Attention.
Right.
Very interesting.
Yes.
So it's nice. It's heavy.
Very
it's
nice.
Unique. It can clip. There's a little slide clip, so you could clip it. I
to
like
let you
that.
take it on the airplane. It's a pen. It's just a pen.
Yep. But if
it
needed,
has uses.
Nice.
Yes. And so, you know, for college age kids, that's a nice item to have, so that if that's the only thing you're allowed to carry with you on campus, and you need to carry that,
purposes.
Right, you need to carry that with you like you would your striking tool instead. But some colleges don't allow those.
In a way, that could become a striking tool.
Right. It's just exactly that.
Yeah.
So it is something that, you know, college age kids are allowed to have. It's a pen.
I like it.
We have our...
So for older, do you want to move on to that?
Well,
or do you
we'll talk about the pepper sprays.
Well, I was thinking the glove. I wasn't sure about that.
Right. So we talked about the glove in the last segment, and this is a nice item for college age kids to have. Again, it's for right and left-handed. So if your dominant hand is not your right hand, we also made them for left-handed people. Okay. And you can just keep your pepper spray tucked right in here.
For 18 and above.
If you are, taken off guard and you put your hands up, it's not going to fall out of your hand because it's still in your little pouch here. Yep. And so I didn't touch on this in the last segment, but when you do spray a pepper spray, you want to go in a zigzag pattern. You want to go in a Z. So it's eyes, nose, mouth.
Eyes, nose,
mouth. And I brought a little diagram with me.
Excellent.
So
spray here.
You know where you're spraying.
And
then you can just use your little...
So you flip your switch.
Right.
And push down. And so I would go here. I'm not going to push it there. I would not.
Well,
I just
there.
I still wouldn't. Interesting. So again, striking zone, face.
Right.
Obviously, you don't want to do on the body
because what happens is that when you spray your pepper spray, it makes all of the mucous membranes inflamed, and it closes down all of the ability to breathe, other than, you know, rescue breathing, really. Right. They're literally gasping because they're so swollen inside it, and it's immediate. And it'll last up to an hour.
Up to an hour.
You have, you know,
you really do have
dealing with somebody who's on drugs or alcohol. This is so strong that it will prevent them from actually being able to chase after you, because it closes everything down.
The whole purpose being to get distance between you and get away. Spray and get away, get distance, run, whatever you need, because that's always.
And with the stun devices, we say stun and run. So stun and run, spray and get away. And, so that's a nice thing. And so I wanted to touch back on our protected pepper. Again, another nice item. If you're allowed to have pepper spray on campus, it's something that you definitely want to have, especially because it's got that extra added protection with the disable pin. So if you pull it out, it can't be used against you. The little thing comes up, and that's, nice. And then also we have the protected pepper with the GPS tracking on it, so that you can let your emergency contacts know where you are and where to send the police to help. So you put
that as an app on your phone, and once you spray that sets off the app, activates it, and also the GPS, so they can send help and know where you are.
Right.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
Yes.
So
and then we talked about the army band, and so another really nice item that we have is, if you are living on campus and you are living in the dorms, and maybe your window is accessible, and this again, for kids too, that live on a first floor, you want to have this so that it sticks to your window. So what happens is that you press this up against your window,
the little suction cup,
and then this little foot comes down to suction it there, so it holds in place. It has a little light on the side, so if you want to use it as a nightlight, you can. But I choose not to turn mine on for my children, just because I don't want to attract any attention to their window. But you know, in the event that you're at the back of the house and your child wants to have it on as a nightlight, it is possible to do that. And then I won't turn this one on because this is 120 decibels. It's very loud.
Even louder.
Okay.
So what happens? So it's stuck to the window.
It sticks to the window.
Yeah.
And then if somebody tries to open that window or sliding glass door, what happens is that the door slides over this presser foot, and then it activates the alarm, so that you know that somebody is entering your home. And they don't know whether they've just triggered a
big alarm
system or what. But it's, you know, the thing is that what you're doing is you're disrupting this person.
And making them run away.
You've messed up their attack, their plan to surprise you.
Okay.
And so in disrupting their plan, it gives you more time to now think, okay, what am I going to do? Because somebody's entering my home.
Could you use that on a door?
You absolutely could use it on a door. Like if you are away on a trip.
A hotel?
Or again, if you're living in a dormitory, you don't have a window to stick it to, but you want to put it underneath your door. So if somebody tries to come through the door at night, the door slides over the top of it, pushes the foot down, and the alarm goes off. So you know.
When you do that on the window, that's going to be the higher and then the window going up against it. So, okay, it takes a moment. Sorry, I need visuals. Yeah. So that's where the window goes. I gotcha. And that's same thing for the door. The door
slides over it. Yes.
Wow.
Yep. It's a nice
That's
item.
Very clever.
That is called step off.
Step off.
Yes.
I like it. Whoops. I'll put it back here for you.
That's okay.
So that is all ages, household, traveling, all ages again. And then so we did the older 18 and above and adults. So let's drop down to middle school and elementary school.
And so a lot of times what we do for the younger crowd is make them situationally aware. Kind of like the conversation that we had in the beginning where we talked about what tipped me off and being groomed by somebody who was trying to get access to my kids. And so, you know, we've created a proactive parent guide for parents because what happens with our Safe Hearts products is it allows parents to start that conversation with their children because a lot of parents don't know how to start this conversation or, you know, what do I tell my kid? I don't want to scare them, but I need to make them aware that these kind of things happen.
Right.
So we have a proactive parent guide.
Nice.
And we have started with a whole slew of books for kids. This is one of our newest books. This is for our little ones. This is for our preschool age children. And it just kind of gets the message across to them about how to be courageous and, you know, to listen to our heart signals when we know that something is wrong, when we know in our stomach that something isn't right.
And to listen to that.
Right. And so that's the message that comes through for a lot of kids for this.
And not to be turned off by what somebody else might say to you, that if your parents have gone over this with you, that in your mind you know, hey, this might not be right and I am okay to question this.
And
I like it.
And creating these conversations between parents and children, the child can say, I feel my heart signal. And the parent knows exactly what the child is saying without tipping off this other person.
Correct.
You know, if the child comes, I mean, little kids, they say anything right out in front of people. So it's almost like a, you know, one of those secret like things between parents and kids. It creates this conversation between them.
That's wonderful. And nobody would know what it is anyway. So except
anybody who knows
that does that. Wow.
And so we have a lot of other books. You know, this one is about pornography and the things that kids get into these days. That's more for middle school age kids that, you know, are getting into using cell phones and having access to the internet.
And exposed to older children in some cases, if the middle school is near the high school.
Right.
Wow.
You know, we have a conversation about fortitude and, you know, being able to let somebody know when something bad is happening to somebody else. And if they don't listen, that, you know, you go get help from someone else.
Gotcha.
This was one of the first books that I ever read, The All-Star Dugout Dreams. It's about grooming. It's about being groomed by somebody that you've known for a while, that suddenly takes this interest and
buys
even
you gifts or
offers
to take you different
special
places,
training,
special things.
and you know, even goes that extra mile and contacts the parent and says, oh, well, I spoke to your mother, and oh, well, you know, I'm taking little Johnny to, you know, have practice with all these other kids, and, you know, I'll bring him home later. And the mother says, oh, okay, you know, because this guy's been the coach for a couple of years. So,
Correct.
okay. And, you know, scares the kid into thinking that, you know, he's never going to be anything if he doesn't, you know, come for the special practice at the coach's basement.
So a complete setup.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's scary.
This is one of my favorites. And this, I feel like a secret gift for Grace is it's a grooming conversation, and it's good for kids at any age, I think. It's not super long. There's not tons and tons of, you know, wording in there that the little ones get lost.
Here, I'll take
and
this.
It's, thank you.
Juggling.
You know, it's about the neighbor who, you know, his dog has puppies, and he's trying to get this girl to keep a secret from her mom.
Yeah.
I'll keep a puppy for you if
you do whatever.
Exactly.
Wow.
So that
all very pertinent conversations because this is happening in every neighborhood, everywhere across the United States.
Right. And like we said in the earlier segment, you know, 70% of sexual assaults happen before the age of 17.
Wow.
Yeah. And you know, it's 1 in 4 girls and 1 in 6 boys. And we always say that the statistic for little boys and for little girls is probably more than that.
That's what's reported.
These are the ones we know about.
Right.
Right. And a lot of times, especially for boys, there's a lot of shame in that. And there's extra shame put into those grooming conversations to keep boys from
Well, to
telling.
be perfectly honest, and, you know, that's what Epstein was all about. Not to get too deep into politics, but there is a perfect example of how many children were affected by an adult and the awful things that happen.
Is what this, you know, the Safe Hearts books are the heart of our Safe Hearts books is teaching kids how to decipher these kind of conversations that adults try to have with them, where they try to scare them into thinking that something bad is going to happen to them if they tell. And even for, you know, teenage kids to do things to younger children and make them think, if you tell your mom, if you tell your dad, this or that's going to happen to you, or they're going to think you're a liar, or, you know, anything to scare the child from saying something happened to me, or I, you know, got into something that I shouldn't have.
Extricate yourself from it.
Right. We have a book about gun safety where... just want to highlight that one because I think that's, you know, it's really important for, maybe I loaned that one out. Nope, I didn't. It's right here. Okay. Damon's Dilemma is about, you know, when that one kid from the neighborhood finds his dad's gun and he wants to go out in the yard and shoot it. And this other kid knows that that's not safe. And what do I do? Because what if something happens to my friend, you know? And it's not cool to tell your parents when something like that's happening, but we have to make it cool so that they know that they need to get their friend help before there's some kind of an accident.
Something terrible happens.
You know, and that's, you know, another big topic during, you know, for the day. So we do have a lot of other great books that can be seen.
And they can certainly reach out to you.
Reach out to me and ask about the books or take a look at them through the website.
Yeah. Tell me about this item.
So this is our Safe Lee sleeve. This can go into a backpack. It can go into a purse. It can go, you know, into a duffel bag. That purse might be a little too small for it, but... you know, our bigger concealed carry purse can carry this.
Okay.
And so it protects us from the 45, the 22, a 357, a 9mm, and a 4mm. 44 mag.
Yeah.
Wow. So you know, it's a really
nice little item to have in the
protection
backpack
item.
for the kids,
Yes.
especially when you have to hide in place,
Right.
shelter in place.
Absolutely. If
Wow.
the schools allow the kids to have things like this in their backpack, you know, they keep their backpacks with them during the day, whether it's hanging on the back of their
Chair or
their
in the
chair.
back of the room. Yeah.
Yep,
I can't
because-
imagine why a school would not allow that.
Right. And it's nice too, you know, when you think about kids who are walking home and, you know, in some places children have to be afraid that they might catch a bullet on the way home because
Correct,
they
in
live
some
in a
of the
bad
cities, yeah.
neighborhood. So having something
Afford
like
some
this
protection.
protects their center mass so they can hide behind it. It's a really
Good
nice
idea
item
for
to
lots
have.
of people. Wow.
Safely sleeve.
Safely sleeve.
And so, you know, we do have other items like concealed carry purses.
For ladies.
You know, right. And those, you know, that's something that the girls in college can carry also.
As well.
Yep.
Love it. Wow, this half hour has flown by
It did,
again.
it really flew
What did
by.
you have? There was one other item there. Did you want to talk about that?
I actually have two things over
good.
here hiding. This is a game that you can also play that's part of our Safe Hearts. So it kind of teaches you, you know, it's a fun way to engage with the kids.
By playing a game.
By playing a game and talking
Nice.
about things that can happen. And that's how you advance through the game, by knowing the right thing to do.
Like it.
Yeah.
And it's everybody around a table and it's not electronic.
It's a family thing where the whole family is engaged so that nobody's uncomfortable and everybody can
like
be
it.
part of that. Another item that's really good to have is our junk in the trunk.
Oh.
And we also have a road trip. I didn't bring one of those in with me, but a road trip flashlight is a great companion item to this.
Okay.
This has a roadside, you've got your octagon,
triangle. Yep. Reflective
we have
triangle.
we have another triangle inside.
Yep.
You've got an ice scraper. You have a poncho, emergency blanket.
Oh, nice. You have jumper cables,
waterproof matches. You have a first aid kit. You have a tire gauge. You've got some tools, a headlamp, so that your hand's free when you're on the side of the road, and you need to be able to see what you're doing. So there's a deck of playing cards in here to keep you busy if you need to pass time while you're waiting for help.
Wow.
So yeah, the junk in the trunk is a really nice item to give all of your college age kids, so that, and even
everybody
high
should have
school
one in their
children
car.
that are driving.
Every mom should have one of those in her car. Sorry.
Yeah.
Should. Wow.
Yep. And so,
Goodness. Well, tell everybody. So, what is the website? It is on the show here.
Yep.
But if they had any questions on some of these items,
mydamselpro.net/Janelle. That's JANELLEB.
and they can reach out to you. Check out the items online.
Yep. Check out the items
Fabulous.
online. Ask me any questions that they'd like to ask. And yeah.
Be proactive. That's the name of the game.
Right.
Thank you so much for joining us, and I definitely want to ask you back, and so we can cover maybe one or two items a little more in depth.
Yes.
And perhaps maybe we might let that alarm go off one day. We'll all wear earphones.
Right.
Thank you so much, Janelle.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. Anytime. Thank you.
The preceding program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.